Hello, everyone. I am weighing in today because I've had several of my clients say that it would be really helpful for me to make videos about the energetic themes that I'm seeing and sensing in the world, because doing the nature of work that I do and having the type of personal relationships that are rooted in realness and vulnerability that I do, I see themes, y'all. I see like, oh, this is where we're clearing this, and this is what's showing up for a lot of people here. So I'm doing that today because there's a lot of shit going on energetically that can be really helpful to have validated. I'm going to be very clear. I'm not an astrologer. There is no like science or external framework for this. This is coming from what I see and feel. So put it through your own filter. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, toss it or be curious about how it might fit in for someone else or maybe in a different way for you. So anyway, as we are here on the 12th of August, what I have been sensing for most of August, especially the past week, is that we're in a really deep time of clearing. So the past several months have been kind of messy, and I don't have to tell many of you that. Like, things have been shaken up, things have been unearthed from kind of the wasteland of feelings and patterns that we haven't wanted to revisit. And it feels like right now this is coming, I don't want to say coming to a head because it's not in a jarring way necessarily, but it's like that shit that we haven't been dealing with. And a lot of it is, I'm seeing, is rooted in childhood, like attachment styles, the way we relate to other people. So, you know, I'm seeing like, oh, how I felt in relationship to my parents or a parent is playing out in my relationship or my partnership or my dating life. And so there's a real invitation right now for clearing. And what I find the most effective approach to that is whatever's coming up, really be with it. We live in a culture where when our shadow shit comes up, we try to make it better, make it go away, make it smaller, make it manageable, control it, fix it, otherwise kind of with it, right? This is not a time for that if you want to move through this efficiently. Really honoring what's there. So I'm seeing a lot of grief. I'm seeing a lot of, it's almost like deep self-compassion, seeing our former selves through deeply compassionate lenses. And there's a grief that comes from that when we're seeing old patterns of self-betrayal, perhaps shut down in a lot of forms. It might be voice suppression, self-advocacy suppression, whatever that stuff was, seeing that old you, that old me through deeply compassionate lens, like, oh, she was doing what she felt she had to do, and how sad that she was so suppressed at that time and couldn't take care of herself, that sort of lens. So allow that grief. On the other side of that, there may be some anger moving. I'm seeing that as well. Like, you know, I've said for years in my career, anger is sad's bodyguard. So when anger is there, anger is often protecting something more tender. And anger, I also find, is often rooted in patterns of self-betrayal or patterns of misalignment. So anger is a sacred energy. It doesn't always have to be destructive. So if you're in the sad feels, be in the sad feels. If you're in the anger feels, find ways to do that move that energy rather than trying to suppress it. I work with a lot of women. We are really good at suppressing anger because we're taught that it's really shitty to feel angry. So if you are feeling that and seeing these old patterns or seeing these different ways of relating and being like, fuck that, no more. You know, I tell my clients often, scream in a car, rant, like let yourself be unfiltered, unevolved, non-spiritual for a hot minute and rant. Screaming in a pillow, I know it's cliche, but it moves energy through voice. Writing stuff down and burning it is another thing. You know, like shaking or tantruming almost can be really helpful. You got to move that energy. And we're taught as a culture to be really refined, confined, and suppressed. And so we don't do the weird shit that helps us move emotional energy. So again, with let the tears flow, let the rage move in ways that aren't harmful to others, and honor it, because that will make space for the new way of being that you're actually seeking to come in. I think September is coming for us with a real open energy of possibility, and actually it feels like there's going to be a lot of, like, we're stepping into an energetic current. September is going to come, and for those of us who are ready and are like, wee, it's going to move us in the direction we want to go, but we got to get untethered. And that's part of what's happening right now. Contracts, relationship contracts are ending to make space for new versions, like the 2.0 of relationships. And there's grief and all of that needs to happen so that we can be freed up when this next gust of energy comes in. I hope this was validating. More to come. I will keep them coming. Let me know how this lands for you. And good luck. Be deeply self-compassionate with yourself as you're raging and crying and doing the hard work of evolving.